second half KISHYZ here to bring you the series matchup between the number 5 Atlanta Hawks versus the number 2 seed Milwaukee Bucks for the Eastern Conference Finals. And what a ride has it been for both teams so far? The Hawks just they keep surprising me and surprising me. I can't keep sleeping on the Hawks because so far in each of their round series, I have not chose them to win, and they keep winning. It just looks like Trey Young. He's just freezing the whole Eastern Conference. I mean, ice Trey there, so he's dishing it out. He's giving everybody a taste of I don't know what you want to call it, the new era of Gen Z talent going on here, but he's definitely leading the way, even with that bad percentage shooting night against game seven against the Philadelphia 76ers. They still won. So, he's a leader of the team and he's putting up a fight and he's definitely not backing down. But for the Milwaukee Bucks, yeah, they're coming off a challenging series themselves against the Brooklyn Nets. Um, that was just tough. That could have went either way. Obviously, if you watch Game 7, you see that they won by a few toes. Kevin Durant's feet being on the line there caused them to tie that game and go into overtime, which the Bucks ultimately won in overtime. But with that being said, let's see how much energy the Bucks bring to this series because that was a tough win. Oh, by the way, if you're watching this and you like the video, give us a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. If you are subscribed, please consider sharing. And also catch us on Anchor.fm, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Outbreakers. I think there's some more out there for the audio only versions of this podcast. But yeah, let's get into the Hawks. Sorry, I left my notebook behind and I had to rewrite some notes and I left some stuff out. So I'm kind of winging it, kind of tired, but we're going to get through this because, like I said, I try to get these videos out for y'all and this information out before the series starts because it's kind of like an overview slash prediction of what I expect to see or what I think might happen in this series. So game one comes on today, Tuesday, June 22nd. And obviously, with the Milwaukee Bucks being the number 2 seed over the number 5 seed Atlanta Hawks, it's going to be in Milwaukee for the first 2 games of this series. And let's get into the underdogs. I guess you could say that both of them are kind of underdogs, but more so the underdogs in the Atlanta Hawks here, in particular with this series. Capella, I had him written down, and I was just rewriting my notes here. I kind of felt like Capella could be that double guy that we're used to seeing in the regular season in this series here, unless the Bucks somehow decide to stretch him out and pull him away from the rim as far as getting defensive rebounds. That would all depend on how Brook Lopez is playing, if he's more aggressive with shooting the 3 ball. But outside of that, Capella is always good to go with going against bigs, and he's not going against an Embiid type of center there with the Milwaukee Bucks team. So I think he could still contribute with his normal dosage of double doubles. I would expect him to pick up on those stats. Maybe not quite to the extent of 15 points, 20 rebounds, but you never know. Maybe one game he might, but I see him getting double doubles more so than not, in my opinion, when I'm looking at him versus the Milwaukee Bucks here. And also, yeah, just want to touch on Kevin Huerter because he's been having breakout postseason. Last few games against 76ers, he was just on fire. He's got this nice pull up, almost like a turnaround small hook, but it's like a pull up shot in the paint where he kind of drives the defender in, kind of stops, and it's not a push shot. It looks like a jump shot. So he's got that going for him. Sometimes it does look like a push shot. Like I said, it's almost like a slight hook type of thing sometimes, but he does do like this fadeaway shot there too in the paint, which is awesome. So, he's definitely developing more in his game. And that leads me to the question, who's out there, who's going to have the answer as far as the Bucks defense for Kevin Huerter. If this guy gets going and has the confidence to take those shots in the Sixers series with the game on the line, he's going to start doing that earlier on in the series here against the Milwaukee Bucks. And the Bucks do have great length with their defense because they are a very big team overall. But you got to watch out for that because he's going to try to pull you in and shoot it and get that mid-range shot going, or maybe he might try to draw fouls with that. But that's something to look out for. And I did not put down my X factor because I couldn't remember what my X factor was when I originally did this in my notebook. So let's make up an X factor. I mean, I already touched on Capella and Herter, and maybe one of those guys from my X factor. I mean, Trey Young, we kind of know what he could bring to the table. Maybe the X factor could be him getting the Milwaukee Bucks into foul trouble, but he's been doing that all series long. So I kind of want to see what's going to stand out with this series for the Hawks. And I'm trying to fish because last series I said it was John Collins and he showed up big, and I like that. Maybe Hurt it's time for him to step up even more. But John Collins did prove to be what I needed him to be for them to win against the 76ers. But for this series, um, I don't know. Let's go Gallinari just because he has the most experience. Let's go Lou Williams. Let's say Lou Williams because he's starting to get involved a little bit more, but his veteran presence here might keep them stable and not overwhelmed with it being, one round away from the NBA Finals. So maybe he kind of helps to keep this team calm as far as, you know, not letting them get too excited against the Bucks early on, especially if you pick up an early win in the series, like a road win for the Hawks. So let's just say Lou Williams, and it might not be from a scoring output or statistical output, but let's just say from a locker room personality type of guy, as far as what he brings to the team on the court, as well as off the court on the bench, as far as talking to the guys. So just overall, let's just say Lou Williams might be the X factor here. But as far as shot making, I'm going with Kevin Herter, and then followed by Clint Capella as somebody who could provide more in this series than they have in the last series. But let's go on to the Milwaukee Bucks. Hopefully, I touched on everything I wanted to talk about with this the Hawks team. Like I said, Trey Young is going to be unforgettable after this postseason anyway. But we'll see what he does in this series. But the Milwaukee Bucks, first things first, this is the series, if not the last series, where they're really going to miss DiVincenzo again because of his defense. He's one of those guys who could have stuck on Trey Young, help tweak his percentage as far as turning it down on his made 3-pointers, but one less body there to help guard Trey Young, and Trey Young likes to get those fouls. So you might be rotating players. So that brings me back to Pat Connaughton once again. And Pat Connaughton for me is gonna, he's gonna have to run around and chase Trey Young because I don't think you want Drew Holiday doing it all game long. So Pat Connaughton, in my opinion, should get more run time here. And hopefully he can stabilize that run time by basically offering some type of scoring on the offensive end, which makes it justifiable for them to keep him in the game and keep him in the rotation pretty heavily. But I do like Pat Connaughton here as far as somebody who could try to guard Trey Young on plays either in the middle of the game to help preserve energy for like Drew Holiday, or even maybe down the stretch if, like I said, if they could find offense not just from him but from other sources without having to sacrifice too much there. But let me go on to say in terms of what we're just talking about with the defense there, but to beat the Hawks, I think the Bucks are definitely going to have to rely more so on the defense. I think they did have great defense against Brooklyn, but I think Brooklyn problem there was the lack of Brooklyn's offense. Like you had to compete with their offense, and you scrape by to outpace their offense. Basically, James Harden wasn't 100%. Kyrie wasn't there. I mean, that's just what it is, in my opinion. Your offense against their offense, because the defense just wasn't enough. It was enough to get them to where they were at, but as far as it being enough, if James Harden was healthy, like, yeah, you were just hoping that the Nets offense was bad. So in this case, I don't think they really have to hope so much as far as the Hawks offense being bad. I think they could actually rely a lot more on their defense as far as stopping the runs of the Hawks. But you got to watch out for the shooters. They like those perimeter shooters. So you definitely got to have good communication, good rotation. And once again, like I said before in the last series that the Bucks faced the Nets, that they have to kind of be like that type of team like we used to see back in the day when the Milwaukee Bucks was known for their defense back when LeBron was in the East. So I want to see that Bucks defense again if they're trying to, lock up the Hawks, because like I said, you got Kevin Herter, you got Trey Young, you got Bogdanovich, you got Gallinari off the bench. And am I missing another 3-point shooter? Sure, let's throw in Collins. You got Collins you got to watch out for a little bit there on the perimeter. So, but just kind of run them off the line. But that defense, I think it's going to kick in, and that's what they need to do. So with that being said, I actually do remember the X factor that I wrote down for this. So I wrote down the X factor on this card here. And for me, it's going to be coaching adjustments. This is going to be Mike Budenhauser and company, because they're going to have to figure out a way to basically contain Trey as far as guarding him without him being able to draw a lot of fouls on your key players. You don't want Drew Holiday out the game too early. You don't want Giannis out the game, period, as far as outside of rest, because Trey Young will try to get those fouls on these players. He's been doing it every series, and he's consistent with that. And kudos to him for doing that. I mean, that's just one of his go-to moves, if not shooting from the logo as well. But you gotta make those adjustments, because they will be needed, because he will find a way to score. And what you need to do is just kind of contain him from scoring in bunches. Like I say, and watch out for the other 3-point shooters. So all of this is like defense for the Milwaukee Bucks is what I want to see, because like I said, they were known for their defense over their offense at one point. And bringing in Drew Holiday has gotten you this far so far, but your ultimate goal is to make it to the finals. But yeah, don't sleep on the Hawks though, because I've been sleeping on the Hawks though. And the Hawks should make stride here. But this makes me get to the conclusion in a final like statement, like a bold prediction here, which might sound kind of weird. I put down that whoever wins game one will win the series. It's bold. That's what I like to do a little bit at times. So I don't really have a clear cut thing going on here. So sorry if you're using this to make a wager or something like that, but I would like to go even more bold with this statement. So whoever wins game one will win the series, in my opinion. But in the scenario that the Bucks win game one, Bucks in 6 is what I'm thinking. But if the Hawks win this series, as far as them winning game one, they will win the series in 5 games. I don't know why. I have that feeling. Yes, this could easily go 7 games. Like I say, if they go back and forth with their adjustments, but I just feel like the Hawks, because I've been sleeping on them so much, that if they can get game one, that's game one on the road, and you take some momentum away from the Bucks. Who knows? You might be able to win game two. I mean, that's a lot to ask for, but if they can win game one, man, 5 games. But the Bucks, it's weird. If they win game one, that's what you're supposed to do. You're at home, right? You're supposed to win game two as well. And then if you go to Atlanta, hopefully you win one of those games. But there's a chance you could lose both of those games if Atlanta makes the proper adjustments. So that's why I give them 6 games there, and just to see what they can do, if they have the legs, if they have the gas, the energy to keep up with the young Hawks there, because that's what's happening now. When you go against the Brooklyn Nets, you got a couple younger guys, but the vets is where it was at. But here, it's the younger guys, the fresher legs. This is another team with the Atlanta Hawks that did not play in the bubble last year at all. Yeah, so they're fresh. They had a regular offseason, if not actually a elongated offseason. So they're good to go. So that's what I said. Bucks in 6 or Hawks in 5. So don't sleep on the Hawks. Don't sleep on the Bucks. Hey, shout out to the Feeling Lucky crew over there, the Feeling Lucky podcast guys. That is Lucky and Big Daddy, big Milwaukee Bucks fans. They're up there in Milwaukee. So, good luck to y'all. As far as Hawks fans, Carl, I guess he's the only Hawks fan I know. I'm not sure if he's watching this, but yeah. Shout out to y'all at the Philly Lucky crew over there. And yeah, we'll see what happens. One thing I did notice right before I did this video, it's kind of weird, because I was putting on, my outfit for this, which was the shirt and the hat. And I was like, oh, okay, I wore this shirt for the Bucks every series. And then the hat, I think I've been wearing this hat for when I was covering the Hawks with whoever they were playing. And then I was looking at what else I had and what I did for the last video with the Clippers and Suns. I was like, I've been wearing that Clipper shirt every series for them, and the Suns hat for every series. So it's weird. If I might also want to add this, if you're a betting person, that the finals could be a combination of my shirts and hats, as far as like this shirt, the Milwaukee Bucks versus the Phoenix Suns because of that hat, or the combo of the Clipper shirt with the Atlanta Hawks hat. So we'll see if that's going to come true or not. That might be weird and awesome at the same time. Like I said, if you want to bet money on that's just like burning it on both ends there of who would win both conference finals there. Like I said, it could potentially be the Milwaukee Bucks versus the Suns easily in the finals, or a weird uh converse to that, I guess you could say, would be the Clippers versus the Hawks. Which, would that be boring or would that be interesting? Leave in the comments if you would like to see the Hawks versus the Clippers at all. At all. I mean, if Paul George is running the show like that and he's just good like that, then wow, that's awesome. And if Trey Young's good like that, I want to see it. I kind of actually want to see that. But realistically, I think what we might come to expect would be the Suns and the Bucks. But don't sleep on anybody. If they made it this far already, they made it this far for a reason. So it's kind of hard to not justify either side. So we'll see what happens next. But yeah, once again, everybody, thank you for kicking in second half KISHYZ. If you like the videos, give us a thumbs up, subscribe. If you are subscribed, don't unsubscribe, please. Just share the video and pass it along. And yeah, catch us on Instagram and Twitter under KISHYZ, KISH_YZ. I usually try to tweet some things sometimes when I'm watching the game, like that last game against the Hawks and the Sixers when Ben Simmons blew the layup. But yeah, I like to get on there sometimes if I'm not doing like a YouTube shorts. If something funny happens in the game, I can make some content there. But outside of that, I try to get on Twitter sometimes during the game and just do different tweets and shout out some people there while I'm doing the tweets. So makes it a little bit interesting to watch and look out for. But yeah, once again, everybody, catch us here for more content. I guess as far as these matchup videos, maybe I'll do another video to cover like the middle of these series as a combination between the Clippers Suns and the Bucks Hawks, maybe around game 3 or game 4. I'll see how busy I am. I am putting out shoes content. So if you're looking at for some shoes, or you're looking at back to school, or you have children or something like that, teenagers, high schoolers, or you're in college, check that out as well. But like I said, I might do a mid-series or towards the end of the series matchup reviews of how the playoffs are going for the conference finals of the East and the West sometime before they end. But also, one of the last videos would be the finals. So maybe I'll do 2 videos for the finals. I kind of like to do these previews / predictions, but maybe I'll go back and actually do podcasts with some of the guys that we've had on before and just kind of vibe out for a little bit. So stay tuned for that stuff if you're interested. Please just turn that notification bell on, and catch you later. So everybody, once more, peace and love.